All right, guys, welcome back to another video. It's your man Jay. So we're gonna go ahead and do a comparison with the LG G7 and the iPhone XS Max. I've really been enjoying both of these phones. My favorite phone right now is the Vivo Nex. I think this is like some really good innovation back here. So it took down the iPhone already. Let's see what the G7 can do. And that's just what it is. So let's jump in here. Let's go with hardware and design. And we're gonna start off with the iPhone since this is the challenger. This is the latest offering from Apple. It's got a 6.5-inch display. You've got facial recognition and all kind of sensors up here at the top. You've got wireless charging, IP68, glass front and back. A bit of a weighty phone too, stainless steel setup. You've got the lightning port on the bottom. You've got a stereo speaker setup. The earpieces up here is one and the other speaker's down there. You've got fast charging. I think I said you got wireless charging. This is the hardware. This is the design. That's it. That's what Apple's offering right now. It's got they call it like a super retina display or something like that. It's like 1242 by 2688, something like that. And it's a beautiful setup, beautiful display, looks good. And let's get over here and take a look at the G7 and I'll tell you what this one is rocking with. So this one actually has a 6.1-inch display and it is a Quad HD display. You've got a flat design on the back of this one. You got the flat matte back on this, and you got the fingerprint reader on the back. This doesn't have a fingerprint reader. This one does, and this one also has facial recognition. And I'll test those for you in just a second. You've got Type C. You've got a headphone jack on this one. You've got you've got like this boom sound setup where you lay it on like a box lid or just an open box or something like that, or just a table that's not too heavy and thick and metal, and it'll boom up. It'll just basically turn it into the speaker. It's a classic. It's a classic design. It's a design that we've seen before. Just not a lot of people would probably do that. You know what I mean? Like how often are you want to sit your phone on a table or a box lid or something like that, or just some kind of surface to make it sound better? Good idea, but it is there. But even without that, the speaker is really loud on here. So this is a 6.1-inch display. You do have wireless charging just like the iPhone. You've got fast charging. It's got an IP68 rating. I'm going to test the hardware, the facial recognition first on these, and then I'll tell you which one I choose for hardware and design. So let's turn these off. And then the G7, you don't actually have to light the screen up, but since I'm sitting right here and it's not moving around, that's why it's not coming back on. But I'm going to go ahead and do this. So as you can see, I looked at the iPhone first, and then I looked at the G7. So let's go back in again here. Just look at the iPhone. It unlocks. Look at the G7. They're both fast. I don't know which one is faster, but the G7 has the advantage because I don't actually have to turn on the screen. So if I just do like this, turn it away for a second, and look at it, it's going to come on by itself. Every time I try to demo this on camera, it never works. So, okay, come on. There we go. See, it opens up by itself. It's kind of strange that every time I try to demo that on camera, it never works. As far as hardware and design, though, I give it to the G7. It feels much better in the hand. It still has a big screen, and that's just what it is. I like it. I like it a little bit better than the iPhone XS Max as far as comfort and feel in hand. And the screen is absolutely beautiful, too. We'll get into that later. Let's go next to screen. Let's go ahead and go to screen, and we'll talk about it. So I'm going to load up some videos here. Load up the same video on both. Let's see here. Let's get this loaded up. I'm gonna load up the iPhone. I like to load up that iPhone video I did for the I got a car with an app. What's the name? So you can look at screen quality, and then you can also look at let's crank the volume way up. Now you can look at screen quality, and you can also look at sound quality. So I'm gonna play this one first, and then I'll start setting it up on the G7. Hey guys, welcome back to another video. It's your man Jay Will. So getting ready to do the camera review for the iPhone XS Max. All the footage that you see will be recorded, shot, edited, all from the phone and uploaded directly to YouTube. So hope you guys enjoy. Stay tuned for more. Check the microphones on this iPhone. Full start. All right, so that's the iPhone. Now let's take a listen to it and look at it on the G7. Now the G7 obviously can play a higher resolution, so hey guys, that's what I'm gonna do. Another video, it's your man Jay Will. So getting ready to do the camera review for the iPhone XS Max. All the footage that you see will be recorded, shot, edited, all from the phone and uploaded directly to YouTube. So if you guys enjoy, stay tuned for more. Let's check the microphones on this iPhone. Cold start. All right, so there's both sitting right next to each other. So while the G7 does have a pretty loud bottom firing speaker, and again, I didn't test it like landing on a table or a box or anything like that. It's just not traditional. I give the speaker edge to the iPhone XS Max for sure. That speaker setup definitely is winning. You know, it's a good setup. And the G7 is right behind it. Has a nice little setup on there. You know what I'm saying? As far as screen quality goes, honestly, you know, when I have these side by side, you know what I'm saying, they both look great. But I definitely give the edge to the G7 because I can watch my videos at the highest resolution that I want to right there. And they both look good, but I can at least watch them like that. So that's personal preference. I'm not saying the iPhone screen is bad. I'm just saying that the G7 looks better. So with screen out of the way, let's take a look at, I normally do like a camera review and like go outside and do all this other stuff. I'm just gonna take a photo of some stuff right here and just show it on the native display. So I'm gonna open up the camera. I'm just gonna take a picture of this right here. And then I'll load it up. And now I'm gonna take a picture of it here. Oh, that G7 got the iPhone has a wider field. Okay, I just noticed that right now. The iPhone has a much wider field of view, just this close. Because I was like, I don't know how close I was, but when I got it with the G7, it's like right here. So if I turn on widescreen for the G7, you know, that's kind of not right. You know what I'm saying? So let's take a photo right here. And that's not saying that the G7 has a bad camera, like for the setup or whatever. Just the iPhone definitely has a wider field of view. Now, just taking a look at both of these right here. Both of these cameras did something right. I mean, so the G7 is giving kind of a more accurate color representation of the desk. Both of them are way off in a sense. Well, actually, you know what? The iPhone is giving a better representation of the desk. And overall, in this setting, I like the iPhone camera better. Like straight photos, they both take good photos, but just as I took this photo, the iPhone is definitely a little bit more accurate because the speaker is not really light like on this one. But again, I'm not shooting in manual mode. Like I normally shoot with the G7 in manual mode because that's where the G7 shines. Like for video content, yeah, it definitely is really nice. So what I'm gonna do, since the photo looks better on the iPhone, I'll go ahead and take a video real quick with both of these. Let's get some color in here. Let's see here. All right, I got a box right here that has a lot of color in it. So let's put this back, and then let's just take a video right here, and we'll just play it back. So I'm not really trying to get in view. I'm just trying to get this photo. So this is 4K at 60 FPS. I want you to notice the colors and everything. All right, so I'll leave the box right there. Then I'll switch over to the G7, and we'll go ahead and get a video going too. And I'm gonna put the G7 in 4K at 60 FPS. I'm not gonna adjust the audio gain or anything like that for the G7 because I know it's better than the iPhone, but we'll just get this going. Just kind of swoop around like I just did a minute ago. All right, so video saved. All right, now let's get these back up on the stand. All right. So obviously this isn't like a perfect run side by side what I was filming, but I wanted to give you some kind of rough idea. So just take a look. Just kind of swoop around like I just did a minute ago. All right, and over here on the iPhone. 60 FPS. Uh-oh. Siri, get out of here. I want you to notice the colors and everything. All right, so 60 FPS. I want you to notice here's what I think. Here's what I think about this. This quick video I just shot. 60 FPS. I want you to notice the colors and everything. So here's what I just noticed about this right here. So check this out. I like the color reproduction that the G7 gives. I'm just being 100. You know what I'm saying? I know the G7 is a great camera. I like the way the colors looked in that video. And I think they were a little bit, the reds are really red, but they weren't as red with the iPhone. And indoors, the iPhone doesn't do well anyway. But I got one studio light going right up there. And it's still daylight outside too at the filming of this. So, but I think the color reproduction was really good on the G7, just in that quick test. This is not like a final test. I get tired of sometimes doing the same test outside with sunlight and green grass. That's kind of, you know, I do that for general purposes, but for something like this, what if I wanted to shoot that box and send it to a friend? Hey, send me a picture of that box real quick, or send me shoot a video of the box real quick, or take a picture of that, whatever. You know, it has to be good. So with that, I'm going with the iPhone XS Plus. The footage on there was really clean and really smooth. It's smooth on here, and the color accuracy was there, but it just felt more fluid on the iPhone. So I think this isn't like the final camera test, I know, but in real world testing, sometimes a person isn't going to go out. They're not going to say, hey, go outside and take a picture of the video of the trees. Do you understand what I'm saying? You know, I mean, honestly, G7 owners and iPhone owners, do you understand what I mean? Like, you just, those are just for testing purposes, you know, and this was a test too, but just try to make it as realistic as possible. But for cameras, I think I'm gonna go ahead and go with the iPhone for one main reason is I can record unlimited 4K 60 FPS, no adjustments even needed. With the G7, I need to go into manual mode and I need to go get it. But with that, this is probably a tough one for me because I really like the G7 for content creating, but now that I have the iPhone XS Max, I haven't done very many content. I've only done one video with this, and that is the, I created that video. You know what I'm saying? Let's get us here. I created this video, the iPhone XS Max camera review. That's the only thing that's in there. And so that's another plus for the iPhone. I can create and edit right here on the phone. And I could do that over here, but I had to buy an application to do it. But nonetheless, this is about the camera quality. And I think in this particular test, the iPhone took it. Now, when it comes to performance, both of these phones perform well. I benchmarked them both. And this one got 266,000 or something like that. And this one got 310,000. That doesn't mean much to real world testing. But I'm going to say that both of these perform well. But nothing is really touching the fluidity of iOS, man. iOS 12 is just fantastic. It's just a great setup. I mean, it's absolutely nothing wrong with iOS 12 in my experience. I'm not experiencing anything, all that stuff that's going on in the net. I'm not even going to talk about it, but I'm not experiencing any problems with my iPhone. And I just leave it at that. So please don't post comments. Are you having problems? No, I'm not having any problems. My iPhone is fine. And that's just what it is. But performance, I give the edge to the iPhone because I like how smooth it is and how it flows. The G7 is flowing and everything, but it just doesn't have that slippery when wet. It just don't have it. So, you know, it's subjective. You know what I'm saying? I have both. And in my experience, I just prefer the way the iPhone moves about the phone. I'm not saying my G7 is a punk, but I'm just saying they both have 4 gigs of RAM. This has a Snapdragon 845. This has that 812 Bionic chip. So you already know what's going down. Battery life. Now here's where it's, the iPhone actually takes this one as well because the iPhone 7 has fantastic standby time, but so does the G7. However, the iPhone, I'm getting way more screen on time. I'm getting between 7.5 and 8.5 hours of screen on time. And that's over 24 hours. That's not like within a 24-hour off the charger. You know how I measure this. The longer I'm off the charger, the better it is. So with that, the iPhone takes it. I'm getting about 5.5, 6.5. The tops I've gotten on here is 7 hours of screen on time within a 24-hour cycle. And over here, I'm just getting more. And that's just what it is. Now, when it comes to price, the G7 wins. I shouldn't even have to get into this, but the iPhone's way overpriced, and that's just what it is. The G7 is technically overpriced too by my standards, because the G7 actually costs like $750, but I got it for $450 on Project Fi. So be sure to hit that Project Fi link in the bottom if you want to grab this phone for $450, and you also can sign up for Project Fi, and we both get $20. Shout out to all those people who have already signed up. I got the notifications. I appreciate it. After 30 days, we both get $20 on our accounts credit. So yeah, it's what it is. But yeah, the G7 wins with price, hands down. You know, it's the better phone when it comes to the price. Now, if I had to choose one of these phones for 2 years, it's probably gonna shock people, but if I had to choose one of these phones for 2 years, it's really tough. This might be the first time I have to call it a draw. I'm not sure, because I really like the iPhone XS Max, but I really like the G7. But, you know, the iPhone probably is going to it's going to stay up to date better than the G7. Not that that really means much to me, you know, like software updates. I do like the design and feel in hand over here. I do like the screen better. You know, I think the cameras is a tough one, but I give the edge to the iPhone. Performance, I give the edge to the iPhone. Software, I give the edge to the iPhone. Battery goes to the iPhone. Ouch. Well, as much as I like this hardware and that screen, I'm going to have to take this one and give it to the iPhone 10. iPhone 10 takes this one. G7 owners, we still family, but you know, can't stay on top for long, because the Vivo Next took out the G7, and the Vivo Next took out the iPhone XS Max. But the iPhone XS Max, with this dated hardware, already it's dated to me, but and the software isn't going to change that much. I still kind of would take this for 2 years over the G7. I'm sorry. No, I'm not sorry. That's what it is. Take the L. Forget all that, man. I don't care what you say. This is my experience. So take the L. G7, we cool and everything, but I will have to roll with the iPhone on this one. I know this costs a lot of money, but with that lot of money that I spent, I'm getting way better support from the company as a whole, and the integration of everything I get with Apple is winning. It's just what it is. But battle to battle, phone to phone, I think I'm probably rolling with the iPhone XS Max on this one. All right, guys, hope you enjoyed. Leave a comment down below, and I will see you guys in the next video. Take care.